The US jails more people than any other country. With 5% of the global population, it accounts for 25% of those behind bars worldwide. About half of those in federal prison are there as a result of drug-related offenses.
It's clear as we come together today that too many Americans go to too many prisons for far too long and for no truly good law enforcement reason.
During a revamped war on drugs in the 1980s, mandatory minimum sentences of 5 years and up were introduced depending on the quantity of drugs found on an offender. The policy led to an explosion in the prison population, both at the state and the federal levels. And hardest hit were minority and low-income communities as people were arrested despite the relatively minor infractions they had committed. What's more, the emphasis on incarceration instead of rehabilitation led to a vicious circle of reoffending that even further devastated these communities. Holder's announcement has been welcomed as long overdue by campaigners.
Attorney General Holder's statement is a validation that the last 30 years of mandatory sentencing have been a disaster for this country and for particularly poor and minority communities that have seen thousands of young men go to prison for far too long.
At the state and federal level, there has been mounting concern about the cost of incarcerating ever more people. The Department of Justice's about turn on mandatory minimum sentencing may help convince waverers in Congress that it's time for reform. If you're a major drug dealer, you will still face a tough sentence. But by not pushing for a mandatory minimum, federal prosecutors will allow judges to decide whether non-violent, low-level offenders should be put in prison or rehabilitated at a far lower cost. The next question is whether more money will now be diverted to community-based treatment programs and to the economic redevelopment of areas so blighted that drug dealing is often seen as the only option. Shihab, Rattansi, Al Jazeera, Washington.